Streaming from Oklahoma's own digital studio, this is OU Football Update, brought to you by Brahms.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Sooner Update here on Oklahoma's own sports. Midweek edition. We're going to talk some college football playoff rankings and some OU basketball. And I'm joined once again by Chris Williams today from News 9. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing well. And for once, I want to be the one to say, please like and subscribe. Click the little bell, right? I think the bell, maybe you subscribe and the bell is separate.
Bell is separate. How much does it cost?
It's
subscribe?
Free $99, $0. Notifies you when we update these things, 3 times a week?
Is it going to spam me if I subscribe? Am I going to get all kinds of spam and stuff for doing it?
Yep. No. It's going to phish you. It's going to steal your credit card information. No.
None of that's
true.
All
just tell you when we have great content talking about OU, talking about basketball now as well. Of course, football. We got to start with football again, right, Toby?
Yeah, let's do it. College football playoff rankings out as we taped this moments ago. OU at 12, which has them as the second team out of the bracket of the 12-team bracket. And if that sounds a little confusing, it is. It's because the top 5 rated conference champions all get automatic bids. One of those, as it is right now, is projected to be Virginia, which is 14. So they would get in and bump a team down. And then the highest ranked group of 5 team also gets in. And right now that's Memphis, who wasn't in the top 25. So they would get in and bump another team down. So Texas and Oklahoma are the first 2 teams out of the field right now, despite OU being ranked 12th. What do you think of the rankings?
I thought it was about like expected. Oregon was 7, I think, and
Oregon was 9.
Oregon was 9, yeah. So I thought that they probably should have been a little higher. Only loss was to Indiana, number 2. We talked before it came out. You felt like A&M could make a case for number 1. They decided to go with Ohio State. Those things will sort themselves out, right?
Sure.
I mean, Ohio State has the game with Michigan, and then Texas A&M is going to Austin later this season. So a lot of football left to be played. I liked what you said. I asked, do you think Brent Venables is putting a lot of thought into the Sooners being one of those first teams out? And I liked what you said about that.
Yeah, I don't think, until you have to plead your case, I don't think you're too worried about this. And obviously at 12 with 3 games to go and the games that they are, Alabama, Missouri, who are both in the top 25. Alabama is in the top 5. Missouri, I believe, was 21, if I remember, 22. And then LSU, who everybody respects. If Oklahoma wins out, they're in. In fact, if Oklahoma wins out, they're hosting a first-round playoff game in Norman, which would be very exciting.
Yes.
Now, if you lose a game, and there will be teams who will be arguing their case, they're at 10, 11, 12, 13, whatever the case may be, then that's when you start caring a lot more about this. But right now, because of the win over Tennessee, I don't think Brent Venables is paying too much attention to it, and I don't think he's talking to his team about it at all. Bottom line is they control their own destiny. You can look at these rankings tonight, and I do think they're interesting. It tells you a couple of things. One, the committee is placing some weight, as they should, on the head-to-head Texas win over Oklahoma. Both teams have 2 losses. OU has better wins than Texas does, but the head-to-head matters. And so they're saying right now Texas 1 spot ahead of OU. I'm sure it's because of that. And man, I have no problem with that at all. I think Texas is going to have a hard time winning out and staying in front of them if OU were to win out. But this is not, while it's fun and it's interesting and you can glean a little bit of what the committee's thinking, it's not something anybody should lose any sleep about yet. We got 4 more weeks of the regular season to go, 3 more games if you're an Oklahoma fan. And then you have the conference championship weekend. So 5 more weeks of teams jockeying, making their claim. There could be a team right now that's in the 20s that ends up in the top 12. Could be a team right now that's out of the poll that could make a charge. I don't think so, but it's possible. There could be a team right now that's in the top 5 that doesn't sniff the bracket by the time we're done with this because they collapse down the stretch. So OU's in a good spot. Take care of business, which is a lot. You got to go to Alabama and win. But if you do, they're going to be a playoff team this year. If they don't, if they're a 3-loss team, if they lose to Bama, beat Missouri, beat LSU, then it's going to be very interesting. No 3-loss team got in the field last year, but Oklahoma has an extremely strong schedule and would have a strong case depending on what else happened around college football.
Yep, and you mentioned not losing sleep over it. I think there are some fan bases that should be. You look at like a Miami, it's going to be really hard for them to make a case. But like you said, both OU and Texas have so many opportunities in front of them to make that jump into the playoff that, yeah, they're in a fine spot right now.
Yeah, and teams in front of them are going to play each other,
right,
and have tough games, and so it's just by attrition. What would be your prediction if Oklahoma were to win all 3? Big if. But if they were, what would their seed be? We're just guessing.
All 3. Yeah, that would mean Bama losing 1. And would they jump Bama in that case because they'd have the same record? Head-to-head matters. Yeah, I think they would be in that 5-6 range if they win out.
Yep.
I mean, you would get another win over Tennessee. Of course, you need some of the teams you've beat. You need Michigan to stay in there. You need Missouri. You would need Missouri to stay in there. Tennessee's at 25 right now. But yeah, I think they could definitely jump 5-6 at the worst. Maybe sneak into maybe.
Tough.
I think you're right. I think that stadium behind you would be hosting a playoff game in that instance.
I think it'd be hard for a 2-loss team to be one of the top 4, but
yeah,
I guess it's possible. I was going to say 6-7 just off the top, and I wasn't trying to be funny there.
You were trying to connect with the Gen Z
until it came out of my mouth.
Toby's
I wasn't
trying to get a younger audience here.
6-7. I was going to say 6 or 7, but it depends on what else happens and everything else. So we'll do. When you beat Alabama, big if. But if you do that, then you're in the catbird seat in this thing. All right, I want to talk a little basketball. The season openers for the men and women took place on Monday. Before we do, though, let's hear a word from our sponsors at Brahms.
Brahms Banana Fudge Sundae gives a whole new meaning to decadent taste. 2 creamy scoops of premium vanilla ice cream overflowing with delicious hot fudge and fresh slices of banana to create the perfect balance between the fruity banana flavor and rich hot fudge. Treat yourself to a banana fudge sundae at Brahms, where every spoonful is pure bliss.
Thank you, Brahms. Let's talk some hoops now. OU, the men, get a win over St. Francis on opening night Monday, 102-66. I was courtside. You were watching on TV, Chris. What'd you think about Porter Moser's team?
I mean, it's a little bit of nerviness just based on the scoreboard, but you know that it's a bunch of new guys trying to find their place. And there was a lot to be excited about, Toby. 5 guys going 14 points or more. And I don't know, I think that run they went on in the second half was great. And overall, it just, if nothing else, it was like, okay, this is going to be a fun team to watch this year.
Yeah, I think that you're right. What we saw Monday was a pretty good thumbnail of what this team is. Mm-hmm. They didn't play great defense in the first half. And that's going to be the challenge, I think, for this team. If Porter could get them to play the kind of defense he expects or wants, they're going to be dangerous because they can score. Mm-hmm. They can score. They got shooters. This is probably the best shooting team that he's had. Definitely a better shooting team than last year. Mm-hmm. And they are bigger than they were last year. Maybe the biggest team he's had on the front line. They started 6'8", 6'9", 6'10" against St. Francis and did not have the services of 6'10" true freshman Kai Rogers, who will join the team soon. He's dealing with a little bit of a leg injury right now, but it's not serious. So they've got better SEC size and big-time shooting ability. How about Koala Talk?
Yeah, that was awesome watching him come alive. He scored like what did he end up with? 18? I have the number here.
18, yeah. 18
but he
threes.
scored it in such quick succession. I think hang on, let me look. He scored 13 points in a 4-minute, 7-second span. It was, once he caught fire, it was like, wow, that is awesome. I butchered his name big time on the highlights that night. We're learning, Toby. We're learning. Yeah. It's early in season, but that was fun to watch. He was someone that I believe they wanted to put more weight on him, right? They redshirted him. They wanted to get him in a little bit better situation, and that's why he's just making his debut now.
Elite shooter, redshirted last year because he's just really skinny. He was 6'7" last year. He's 6'9" now. He grew 2 inches. They put about 25 pounds of muscle on him. He's still very thin. And that's the test for him. You know, I asked an assistant coach before the season, who's the best shooter, and they said Koala-Talk's the best shooter I've ever seen in college basketball. Hyperbole, perhaps, and then I asked the same coach who has the best NBA potential upside on this team, and he said, no doubt, it's Koala. He's 6'9". He's a redshirt freshman. He's just really thin, and as time goes on, as he becomes a sophomore and junior, he's going to get bigger and stronger. But that stroke is incredible.
Yes.
And if they can play him this year, and I say it that way because when you get into the SEC, teams are going to get physical. And they're going to try to isolate him and say, hey, we have an advantage here on this end of the floor because this guy can't guard, whoever because he's too thin or not strong enough. That could be a problem. Even after 25 pounds of muscle, that could be a problem for him. But if he can overcome that, if he can be good enough defensively, or they can scheme around that, what he brings to them on the offensive end of the floor with that shooting ability and range, unbelievable. And you add to that Nigel Pack and Xavier Brown, some of these other shooters, Darion Reed can shoot the three. It's pretty exciting.
I've never seen Xavier spelled that way, by the way. Xzayvier. It's creative.
Yeah.
Hey, Nigel Pack had a play. He had a few, but he broke out in transition, and it was like he was shot out of a cannon. It looked like he was moving double the speed of everyone else on the court. Like they somehow slowed motion, like those cool videos where he was zipping. And he's in like his, 9th, 10th, 11th year of college basketball or something. He's been to the Final Four with Miami. That's a fun guy to have in that locker room, in that practice gym, and leading the way. He's a talented player, and man, he can scoop.
Yeah, you got two guys on this team that have been to Final Fours. Mo McGee went to the Final Four with Alabama. Darion Reed went to the Elite Eight with Alabama last year. You mentioned Pack was in the Final Four in 2023 with Miami. Mm-hmm. Just great to see him in the Lloyd Noble Center not wearing purple. He destroyed OU when he was at Kansas State. So good to have him on the other side this time. Now, that's all fun and games, and they won 102-66, and they had the big second half. But game 2 of the season is Gonzaga on the road on Saturday night, 9:30 Central Time tip-off Saturday night. And they're ranked, I think, 21st in the country right now. But listen, we all know winning at Gonzaga is not done very often. This is an opportunity game, Chris. It's not going to hurt their resume at all if they go lose a road game at Gonzaga. But if you win it, they're going to get the attention of everybody here early in the year.
Yep, and was the key last year, too, is they got some of those wins in the preseason, put them in their back pocket, had all the ups and downs during the SEC slate, but they were able to call back to this time of year when it was come selection time, and they finally were able to break through and get into the tournament. So you're right. This is that's why you put a game like this on the schedule. If you can go to Spokane and beat Gonzaga, that's great for you. You're also going to learn a lot about this team, right? You're going to learn more about this team on the road at Gonzaga than, game 1 against St. Francis.
Yeah, that's a good point. The next home game, by the way, next Tuesday is the annual McCaslin Fieldhouse game. Arkansas Pine Bluff come into town, and that's become a fun tradition every year. Sooner women opened the season with a win. They got tested, but pulled away in the fourth quarter. Reagan Beers, 29 points, 10 rebounds in her debut. And highly touted 5-star freshman Aaliyah Chavez, 16, is that right? 16 or 18, I believe?
16,
in her debut as well. It wasn't pretty, but if you remember last year, OU owned the fourth quarter of games. Their style wore teams down. And it happened again against Belmont, who was an NCAA tournament team last year. And they also have a big-time test out west. in game 2 of the season. They head to Sacramento next Monday to take on UCLA out there, who's a national title contender. So we're gonna learn a lot about Jenny Baranczyk's team and Porter Moser's team in coming days.
Man, Jenny Baranczyk's team, Reagan Beers, I think could be the best center in the country. I'm so big on Peyton Verhulst and what she brings. She went for 40 in a game last year. Sahara Williams had struggles game 1, and she goes 11 points, 14 rebound, double-double. But a funny story, Toby, Aaliyah Chavez said that during practices this summer leading up to the season, Peyton and Reagan had to pull her aside and say, hey, shoot the ball.
Yeah.
She was passing it to him because they're, the star's already there. And they're like, hey, we brought you in here to shoot the ball. You better shoot the basketball. She looked confident week 1. She is going to be a fun one to watch this season as a true freshman.
It was an unselfish 16 on Monday, too. There was times during that game where I was thinking the same thing. Hey, be a little more selfish, freshman. Yeah, pull the trigger a little bit. Now, we know the kick time, by the way, for the Alabama game now. It'll be 2:30 a week from Saturday. No Friday pod this week, but Chris and I will be back with you on Monday as we start to get you ready for the next biggest game of the season for Oklahoma as they are headed to Tuscaloosa for another monster showdown in the SEC. Please like and subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your relatives. Come watch Oklahoma's own sports, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching this Oklahoma's Own digital studio stream. Stay with News 9, online and on television, anytime for the latest news, weather, and sports.